The Oregon Ducks land the Colorado Buffalo. Jordan Seaton out of the transfer portal. Jordan Seaton entered into the transfer portal about midway through January 12th. There was the whole story that happened with him uh, asking for a video of himself so that way he could use it to say he was coming back to Colorado. Instead, he takes that video from the Colorado staff and uses it to announce that he's entering the transfer portal. Pretty bad move if you ask me, but you know what? It's his prerogative. It's what he wants to do. He's his own man, and he has every right to do that. So after spending 2 years with the Colorado Buffaloes there with Deion Sanders, he is entering into the transfer portal. He is a former five-star recruit, enters as one of the highest rated. I believe he might be the highest rated offensive lineman in the transfer portal. He was the highest graded offensive tackle in the Big 12 last season. But at the same time, there was also some questions about his play and some of the guys that he went up against. But he is somebody that is looked to be an almost definite first round pick there at wherever he goes next. So Jordan Seaton, could he go to Oregon? He's somebody that has his services being shopped around quite a bit right now. And if you look into, what he wants and everything like that, he has 2 years of eligibility remaining. He's 6'5", 330 pounds, moves really well, but he's also going to cost quite a bit too. North of $2.5 million is kind of what's been rumored out there. There's some people out there that think he could get close to 4 or 5, maybe even $6 million if the bidding goes up high enough. He had his first visit at Mississippi State, which kind of led you to think, okay, well, maybe there are not as many teams in on him as you might think. Then he went on out and had an extended weekend at Miami. He had an extended weekend at LSU. LSU kind of tried to keep him away from going on other visits. Oregon was somebody that was wanting to get a visit from him, but it didn't look like that happened. So A'lique Terry and Dan Lanning actually flew to Atlanta to meet with Jordan Seaton and see if they could put something together there. I think all of these visits personally are kind of not even really needed. He played 22 games there at Colorado. Like I said, highest PFF grade of an offensive tackle in the Big 12 this last year. He really did do a good job there. I'm not trying to say that he didn't or anything like that, but at the same time, this is what seems to be an NIL driven move more than anything else. And I don't think that Jordan Seaton is all that shy about making that public, that this is probably something that is very heavily influenced by NIL. Of course, you have the Deion Sanders factor kind of following him around and stuff like that. But the market is in so much chaos right now. There's really not been all that many elite offensive linemen that have entered in. And so if I do want to give any major props to Jordan Seaton, I have given props to him, but if I want to give any major props to him, it's how they've handled this to get him paid. I mean, they did a fantastic job of waiting until later in the transfer portal cycle after most teams have went out and got their guys and brought him into the portal so that way he could kind of maximize himself, maximize his earning potential, and he's going to earn big. Like I said, there's rumors out there of 4 or 5, maybe even $6 million that could be paid to Jordan Seaton. That $6 million figure is something that sounds like it's probably over a 2-year thing, but with only 2 years of eligibility remaining and the ability to jump to the NFL, I don't think Jordan Seaton is sticking around for his next year. And unless something terrible happens, which nobody is rooting for that, but unless something terrible happens, like an injury or something, I think he's probably gone after this next year. And so the suitors you have for him are teams I named: Mississippi State, Miami, LSU, Oregon is in on this as well. Texas was thought to be a team that was early in on this, but it doesn't sound like Texas is pushing all that hard. Maybe they're doing more behind the scenes than people realize, and maybe they will end up landing Jordan Seaton. But overall, even though Oregon is the team with the highest FanDuel odds to win the national championship among these teams, it doesn't seem like that matters as much. It seems like all these teams, except for probably Mississippi State, would provide him an opportunity to play at a big stage in college football, provide him an opportunity to get paid very handsomely for playing in college football. And unless Oregon comes out here and hits that $5-6 million deal that some people are rumoring, I just don't feel like he's gonna go to Oregon. Jordan Seaton is the type of kid that, and I don't know him personally, but from everything we've seen online and everything else, he just seems like the type of guy that would be fit very well for LSU. I don't even know if he fits all that well at Miami. Maybe he does, but he seems like the type of guy that would fit very well with Lane Kiffin over there at LSU. Feels like that would be something that Lane would obviously really, really want. I mean, they tried to keep him away from his Oregon visit, and trying to keep staying later and stuff like that, so that way he couldn't go to Oregon. It makes sense. And in this era, like you can't blame teams for doing that. Like I don't like it, but at the end of the day, this is the transfer portal. There's no rules. There's nothing out there, and so you gotta play the game the way you do to try to get these guys to go to your school. And I feel like LSU set themselves up really well for this. So I feel like we're probably going to get a decision here somewhat soon. Obviously, we'll see what that decision looks like in the coming days. But Jordan Seaton seems like the type of guy that would not want to announce this on a Friday news dump. When you get the Friday news, it kind of gets buried behind other stuff. It feels like Jordan Seaton is the type of guy that wants to make this decision as quickly as possible. But also maybe he drags it out a little bit longer and gets the teams to start offering some more money. We'll see what happens. I would guess this decision is probably made either tomorrow on Thursday, if you're listening to this on Thursday, it being today, or on Monday early morning. Monday early morning, you can really dominate the news cycle, especially in college football, with college football being over and the offseason and everything else. You can really dominate it if you do that. A lot of shows that day will start talking about you first and foremost. And I think that would probably be the way. If Jordan Seaton is willing to wait, I think that would probably be most likely. But I also think he could also just announce that next Thursday as well. So we'll see what happens here. Like I said, my pick at this point would be LSU. Unless Oregon comes in with a crazy offer, as we know they would be able to do with Phil Knight over there. If they really want him, sometimes it's just that simple. If Phil Knight wants him enough, Phil Knight's going to go out and get him. Maybe they do that. Maybe they offer him some shoes. Maybe they offer him a left tackle shoe deal or something like that. If they do, you know what? More power to you. More power to Oregon and the Ducks. Even if they don't land Jordan Seaton, I trust A'lique Terry as an offensive line coach. In my opinion, A'lique Terry is one of, if not the best offensive line coach in the nation. He's just done it time and time and time again with transfer portal players, with developmental players. It seems like whatever players you give A'lique Terry, he is going to do that with. And if Jordan Seaton is really serious about his NFL development, and maybe he is more serious about it than I'm giving him credit for, if he is, you have to go to Oregon, because Oregon will set you up to be good in the NFL. I know Isaiah World had some struggles this year, had some issues, and there was that video of the Indiana, I think it was Kamara, that put him on his butt, and he's like sprawling all out and everything. But A'lique Terry does do a fantastic job with his offensive lines, and I think A'lique Terry would set Jordan Seaton up well to be a highly drafted player next season in the NFL draft. So we'll see how that works out, but that's kind of the latest on Jordan Seaton. We'll see if he goes over there to Oregon. A lot of drama, transfer portal. It's almost gone, but we still got Jordan Seaton to talk about. So there you go.